Football was my pride and joy. I love football. Second rep in, I was striding out to tap the sky. Step wrong and tore my ACL. People are always like, steroids, it's fine for you. All these really high body enhancers lead to early deaths.
I think a big thing too is if you were skinny or fat for a long time of your life, then you kind of have that identity stuck in you.
He goes to visit her. She's unresponsive though at this time. He says, "Hey, Barbara, it's John." All of a sudden she reaches out her hand.
Okay, be honest. Have you ever looked in the mirror even after months of progress and still felt like it wasn't enough?
Yeah, I think I'd have to say everyone probably goes through that, and it's truly never going to go away. It's just going to go on and off. You grow your physique and there's always the pursuit of more. With body dysmorphia, it's always a cycle of you look in the mirror, you feel skinny. You lift, you feel big. You look in the mirror, you feel skinny. It's a constant cycle, but it's just about realizing that where you started and where you are now, and the growth between then, doesn't matter how little or how much, just know that there's growth there. It's just you versus you. Nobody else matters in that situation. Just compare yourself to you the day before. I feel like, I've gone through that countless times. I always feel that. Some days it's worse than others, so.
I completely agree. I feel the same way all the time when it comes to not feeling satisfied. I make progress. Someone sees me and they're just like, "Dang, bro, like you're getting big." I feel absolutely nothing. I don't feel bigger. In fact, I feel smaller. So it's like, I think a lot of guys feel that way where they're just never satisfied with every thing that they achieve. But we'll go deeper into that later. That's good that you... I think a lot of people would like to know that you experienced that, considering that, like, I see you right now, you look built.
Thank you.
So my question for you is, do you ever experience body dysmorphia? If so, how do you deal with it?
I do deal with body dysmorphia. I think it's very common. Almost everyone probably deals with body dysmorphia in some sort of way. In my experience, as a man, I want to be stronger. I want to be bigger. I want to look better. I want to do better. I feel like most of the time it never really fully goes away. But one way to deal with it is having peers and friends to support you. I say my physique looks bad, and my friends say, and your friends have also said, you look completely fine. I've said that to you just a moment ago. And that support group and that support system, those people that know where you've come from, where you started and where you are now, that really helps. I'm like, dang, I need to be stronger. Dang, my muscles have shrunk. And my friends are like, dude, look at yourself. You actually have a pretty great physique. Some of my friends have even said people would dream to have your physique. And so when I think about that and I think about what they say in that perspective, it just opens my eye up and it clears that negative brain fog of self-hatred. When you're looking in the mirror and you have those negative thoughts and you're like, dang, I'm not looking good. Think about how you looked a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Somewhere down the line, you've changed if you were putting in the work. Obviously, there's more work to be done, but that doesn't completely override the work that you have done, I think. So those are the two ways that I personally deal with body dysmorphia. Definitely many other options like therapy and many other programs and places that you can go to if it's really extremely bad.
So the first one was spending time with people that like know you and your body, and they're just like,
yeah,
bro, you're tripping. Like, come on. Like, they just kind of reinforce that a little bit.
Because they know you.
Yeah. And then the next one was like reminding yourself like where you came from and why you started, sort of.
In some instances, people don't have those friends to tell them that, have that support group to, reinforce the true nature of how they actually look. Some people are doing this journey alone. It's probably really hard to struggle with body dysmorphia alone, whether you're losing weight or you're trying to gain weight. Let me add on to that. Progress pictures matter. I sadly haven't done that. Yeah. I would kind of have progress pictures of just random pictures that people have taken of me when I was younger before I got into high school. And that's the only picture I know when I was kind of thinner. But I never really took progress pictures because you only want to take pictures of when you're looking good. Even when you're not feeling the greatest, you take that picture when you start, and then you look at that picture months down the line. Man, that I've seen some crazy transformations all over the internet. So that's
the thing to bring up. Yeah, the progress photos.
You definitely. I think
I tried to on purpose because I know that fact. Like not like every month, but every now and so, if I take a photo, it just keeps me on track and it helps remind me like where it came from, like what you said earlier. I think a big thing too is if you were skinny or fat for a long time of your life, then you kind of have that identity like stuck in you. So for me, I'm still like on the thinner side, but I was extremely skinny. Like Ciroc, you know me since middle school. I think I was extremely skinny too. And when I go to the gym and I set foot in the gym, I feel like that skinny self from middle school. Like it's hard to work my way out of that, and it's going to take time to have another identity with who I am right now. 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 10 years is probably going to take me a long time. But if you're a certain weight for a certain amount of time, that's just etched inside of you, sort of. So can you go deeper on that?
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've seen countless videos of people even saying they've lost the weight. They used to be obese, maybe, and they had the constant habit. I mean, I have this habit, but I don't think I've did it in that same way, but pushing their shirt down because they know that their weight and their stomach brings their shirt up. And even though they are completely skinny and their shirt is fitting them properly, they still, want to tuck it down. It really is a shame that there aren't more things that you can reach out to. I'm sure there's plenty of organizations, but outwardly and very known, you have to kind of seek that out. A lot of people don't, and they just dwell in that body dysmorphia. And as that time goes on and you are in that physical well-being and that fitness, physical, let me think, like
journey sort of?
Yeah, build. Like your physique is where you feel okay in. As you live with that physique, like you said, that past etched of being a little overweight or being underweight kind of drifts off. And now your identity is who you are now, So time and commitment is kind of the key to getting rid of that past self.
That's like really good advice, especially with the seeking outward stuff. I think a lot of guys don't do that because we're guys.
Yeah.
I think what's really important with the culture of the gym, especially with body dysmorphia, is like what you said earlier, like the people around you and like, I guess, brotherlyhood or like with your friends or anything. That's like one of the most important tips that we could probably give to anyone out there. Your friends, well, obviously guys who roast each other or anything, but like at the end of the day, like I think that's just how guys are. But if someone like goes off on your friend behind their back, then like we will do nothing but speak good things like behind our friend's back. Like that's kind of how guys are. But to each other, we're gonna roast each other like crazy. But I think the nature of it and the culture of it, the guy culture where we're all together, we're all trying to like build each other up and get stronger as individuals. If someone's feeling like it's the word body dysmorphic or just like too self-aware, overanalyzing about their body, then your friend could just like recollect you like, yo, bro, calm down. These are the photos that you took before. Remember this, bro? Remember where you were just at this? Now you're out here. Imagine like in the future if you keep going. So, yeah, you make a really good point. And they can also be external resources as well. Because guys are too stubborn to reach out for help. On friends.
Yeah, I think it's also like almost a manly image thing. Like as a man, you want to be strong, you want to be masculine, and you want to be the best that you can, and you want to look like it, but seeking out for help, it's very common for men, not even through body dysmorphia, but through depression, which body dysmorphia can easily cause. Men need to realize, and me included, if you're going through something, talk to someone. It does feel like, and we were just talking a moment ago about handouts off camera, and asking for help. It's just like you don't want to ask for help and you want to try to be Mr. Do It All, because asking for help feels like a sign of weakness as a man. But if you don't ask for help and you can't get through it alone, then what happens? That's the worst case scenario. I hope no one goes through that, but I know realistically a lot of men can go through that. I don't know if you want me to go further into that and my own experience, but probably, I feel like I'm a generally positive guy. I've been through good moments. I think I give it all to God for, not having to go through a lot of rough times. But as someone who started physical fitness from football was my pride and joy. I love football. Kind of freshman year to junior year of football, I joked around, I played around, never took it serious. Junior year, I started taking it more serious. My physique got bigger, got stronger, got a little faster. Upcoming senior year, I was like, okay, I need to lock in. I want to start. I want to be the best player I can be. I played cornerback. I trained so hard. I worked in the gym countless times. I basically lived in there. Had a video. Somehow the gym was unlocked and there was nobody there, but I was like, I'm just going to lift. It was my high school gym. Had all the weights I needed. I'd be there countless days. The coaches recognized that. They were even telling me like, yeah, you keep doing what you're doing. Try to be more assertive, and because we're looking forward to you being a team captain,
Ooh, okay.
But first day of camp, by the way, went off to their off field for corners and wide receivers. Second rep in, I was striding out to tap this guy who caught a ball on me just to tap him out. Stepped wrong and tore my ACL. Yeah. At that moment, I didn't know my ACL was torn. So the trainer even was like, oh, it might be a little bit of an MCL, which is the outer left side of your knee, left or right side, or maybe inner. I looked up online, quick Google search. How long does that take to recover? 3 weeks? Okay, I'm going to start training in 3 weeks because I'm going to take my break on this camp because I can't get injured for the season in my head, not knowing it was completely torn. Got an MRI, surgeon, doctor was telling me there's too much fluid in it, so we need to check it out. And it looks like your ACL might be partially torn. I continued to train and only felt sometimes like breaking off. Yeah, breaking. I'd wear a brace. Swelling went down. First day I couldn't walk, but swelling went down after a while. Initially, I didn't feel any pain. Just felt like my knee was on a string. You ever wobble your arm and it's just like feels really loose? Yeah. That's what, from my shin to my knee and my quad connecting, just felt like hanging on by a thread. Going onwards to me training, only felt minor pain every so often. I'd backpedal, brake, cut a certain way, and I'd be like, ooh, that felt painful. And then I'd go on, Even went to one Green Day practice with the football team, did really well. Mom calls me, she's like, just got news back from the MRI and the surgeon, your ACL is completely torn. Yeah, I was distraught. Never had any injury ever throughout my life, no broken bones. Probably bruises and scrapes were the most injured I've ever got throughout my youth. I'm still youthful, but yeah. So throughout like when I was a kid, had to get major surgery done to repair the ACL, take quad tendon, reattach, basically fake-ish ACL, in place. And yeah, getting that surgery done, recovery time, 9 months to a year. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, for full recovery back to sport. I was just kept asking the surgeon, like any way possible. I've heard there's some people get injections to numb the pain, but that's only for partial tears. Complete tear will start grinding at your meniscus, which will do permanent damage and unrecoverable. Had to get that surgery. First time ever under anesthesia, I think. Went under, woke up, boom, leg just completely wrapped. Rolled out in a wheelchair. And for maybe about a month, I lived on a couch in my living room because I couldn't go to my room because it was up flights of stairs. So just seeing everyone in the kitchen going in and out, and then also eventually being able to watch practice and watch the teammates play the sport, I couldn't. That was the lowest I've ever felt, going through other like emotional turmoil throughout like relationships and friendships, I felt really low. I had a goal and I worked so hard towards that goal, and then instantly it was just cut off. And from then on, I was like, if only I worked harder. It's my fault that I tore my ACL. That camp, I didn't really stretch that much. So I was like, I should have stretched. That's probably why I tore my ACL. Yada, yada, yada. I should have done more. All the negativity, everything in that situation, you're going to draw out all the negative of it. You know, you should have done this. This is what you did wrong. And you're blaming, it's self-blame. And it was a self-hatred time in my life. I'm glad I'm not going through that anymore, but trying to recover from that, I kind of made it my goal to, you know, do what I can. I started with chest. That's what kind of eventually led me to get my PR 305 or 300, because that's all I could hit was upper body. In my crutches, in my brace, I was just hitting pec flies in my basement. I had a teacher who, you know, helped me through it, helped me realize like I wanted to get back. I wanted to play at least D3 football, or maybe even some type like JUCO football. I really wanted to. And she made me realize like when you're in the situation of pursuing a goal, it's easy to have tunnel vision.
Like a lot of guys would relate to you. Like,
yeah.
When they're injured, they kind of lose where to go. They don't know where to go. Because I know a lot of guys when it comes to football or soccer, like they're just like, this is the only thing I'm going to focus on for the next 3 months, nothing else. And they're capable of doing that. And when they do it, they go off. But imagine like you're in the middle of that and then like, boom, something happens. Like injury, you got to do something else. And it's like, imagine yourself focused on something and then someone slaps you on the face. And you just like, what the heck? Like, what's going on?
It's almost like building a puzzle. And you have like that last couple pieces and someone throws it on the floor and it's gone, you know. I'm gonna wrap up quick. I'm gonna finish up like how I've, you know, gotten back to normalcy in my life, you know, through the support of my friends and people I look up to. I eventually trained, did PT and recovered. I was actually able to run spring track, even though I tore my ACL summer, missed football season. It was a little iffy situation of my physical therapist, but I was able to run hurdles. I did 300 hurdles. I got to about regionals. As you're getting back to a normal lifestyle, the light starts shining out, you know. I give glory to God that this situation happened to me, because it made me realize my love and passion for physical fitness and well-being. And yeah, I am now fully recovered. I still have some knee pain sometimes, but it was one of the lowest moments when I was kind of nitpicking everything that is wrong with me and not looking at the positive. And now here I am, able to walk, run, work out, squat. And you got to really think like the blessings that you are given really, you know, are plentiful, and they override the negatives that are in your life. You know, we're here on this podcast. We're able to eat, drink, see, walk, you know, breathe. That's the biggest aspect of body dysmorphia, is that you got to really realize like how blessed you are. And even if you feel like your situation is not blessed, what was that?
Just don't make me noise.
But yeah, you're good. Even when you feel like you're not blessed, you know, you got to take a look at the bigger picture. You know, you're feeling like you're overweight, but you actually have a roof above your head. Oh, you're feeling like you're down on your money and you're not good financially. You know, you have the opportunity to make that money. I'm sure you probably have the clothes on your back and maybe have a house to go back to. You know, you got to really take a look at your situation and realize you're doing all right. You know, you're doing pretty good. But yeah, sorry for that long ramble tangent, but
that was really good. Everything you said, like, tied together.
That's also what kind of made me want to do kinesiology and physical therapy. You know, I want to do personal training at first. Realize, you know, I kind of want higher salary, you know, to make a living in this life. But personal training would be a side thing for me. But physical therapy is like a high degree that, you know, you can help and watch people grow physically, anyone's physical well-being growing. I feel like it gives me joy to see someone like prosper, lose that weight, gain that muscle, you know. I just love it, you know.
That was really
Thank
good.
you. Yeah.
Everything you said was really good.
I mean, I'd want to ask you, I mean, maybe first your comments on that, but ask you like if you have been through anything like that, you know, see if we have any like anything to relate to.
There would always be an issue with my ankle or my knee or something, and it would take me back. Like it wasn't like 9 months to a year, but it was always like stop for 2 weeks and then get back in, or stop for a week, get back in, stop for 2 days. Like, it's just like little pauses that were just really inconvenient. And I had to put like a brace on and everything, and it would help for the time being. But as a guy, when you see something that gets in your way from doing something that you love, you're going to be so stubborn to accept the fact that it's going to stop you from doing what you love. And you're also going to be stubborn with the fact that taking a rest is progress. For me, I can't comprehend that sometimes when I'm injured. Yeah. Like I feel like I just got to keep going and just tough it out. Like,
I felt the same thing. Like I'm sure with that ankle injury, you probably rolled your ankle like a good amount of times if it's like not stable, and then you have to sit out even longer, or you say, hey trainer, can you wrap this up, like, and you just play on the injured ankle, which makes it way worse. I had a ligament in my ankle that actually stretched a little bit because I've rolled it so many times that that ligament can't stretch back. It's not too bad, but it's like if you're stubborn with that, you're gonna want to play through it. Like I wanted to. That actually does more damage to you. Sports is like a common thing, but anything in life, when your goal is snatched from you, whether you are worried because you have to take a gap year in college or you're not on track for graduating, you know, you got to realize not everything is time-based. You're not going to reach your goal on one straight, narrow path. That's kind of what like really shifted me spiritually. This teacher I'd never had, but always went to her classroom because kindest teacher named Miss Counts. I need to reach out to her. Me and Santo loved like speaking to her. She'd give advice, almost like therapist, to be honest. Like even like girl problems too happen in that situation. So I, in that same time, you know, fumbling or going through girl problems, just brought it down even lower. And it was like, I never experienced that ever in my life, you know, like depression. Not trying to like toot my horn. Like I've always been like try to be an honest person, try to be a patient person. I give all credits to the Lord. When I was in that situation, I was talking to Miss Counts. She gave me some books to read on like daily devotionals and gave me great advice. She literally, when I was telling you the tunnel vision, I was saying the tunnel vision, had a paper, and she was like, this is the way you want to go. Because I was considering cutting people off and just only working out. Like that's how down low I was. I was like, I'm gonna probably just stop talking to my friends, probably just start hitting the gym, because I want to go to college for football. You know, I want to try to get maybe a partial scholarship. I want to do this, you know. I want to play corner because it was robbed from me. I never got to be on Friday Night Lights. That's what the coaches always like talk about. Like Friday Night Lights is the best experience you'll ever have on varsity. Yeah, I played JV. That's, you know, but varsity football. And I was robbed. And I was like, I'm going to make it my goal to do college football so I can experience a little bit of it. You know, it's not going to be the same. So tunnel vision is really what I had. She drew the line. She was like, yeah, you're cutting all these people off, but it's like, that's not going to, how is that going to affect you really? And in life, it's going to be impossible. She drew it on another piece of paper. This is how your life is going to go. You're going to maybe make some friends. You're going to drift off. And then maybe you're going to do a little of this and a little of that. But at the end, you're back. You're at your goal. You know, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Amazing teacher, amazing person to talk to. I was just like, wow, really locked me out. And since she was also religious, I think she must be Christian. But now I'm in college. I'm trying to get closer to God. I'm seeing all these signs. This is really personal. My mom, literally the other day, my grandpa's sister is on her deathbed. He goes to visit her. She's unresponsive though at this time. He says, hey, it's me. Like, hey, Barbara, it's John. All of a sudden she reaches out her hand. My mom tells my aunt, hey, you know that Aunt Barbara's dying. And she's like, that's crazy. I just was thinking about her the other night. Like, no one told me this, but I've been thinking about her. And it my mom said this. I was like, that's so true. When you're kind of reaching the other side, you're going to heaven. And this happens commonly. And I didn't piece it together until now. Like, as someone's moving on to heaven and you're hearing about their death and you're hearing that people were thinking about them, that's kind of their sign of, they're saying, like, I'm okay. Like, a last goodbye departure, even if you're not next to them, in their spirit, they can like still kind of communicate to you. I was just like, wow, I need to, lock in before,
Yeah.
It just makes you realize, like, day by day, you can't be lukewarm. It's the hardest struggle as a Christian, being a lukewarm Christian, not practicing what you preach. Every day we sin unconsciously or consciously. And every day you got to realize, like, is this your last, or do you have another day to live? And if it is your last, no one knows if it's their last. Then you better have, gotten that relationship with Jesus. Some days I'm like, oh, I'm doing great as a Christian. Other days I'm like, it's out of my mind. I'm going on with my day. So it's so easy to be caught up in this worldly. But day by day, from negative experiences and positive experiences, it grows my faith with Jesus. People go away from Christianity or they flee from the church because judgmental people, that's the biggest sin that us Christians and the devil can really like just grasp on, is being judgmental, thinking that you're higher than thou. But only God will judge. Jesus will come back and he will judge. You can't judge. You can tell your beliefs and say it, and it might sound judgmental in a way, but if it's what you genuinely believe and you're trying to do it for the greater good, then that's okay, I feel like. But that's why I try to be the best I can. Some days I falter and I'm impatient, but all the blessing that was given to me by God, I try to utilize that and try to be the best person I can, become my higher self, so I am representing a whole religion. We all are representing the whole image of Christ. Every day, every act we do, it's a representation of Christ. And yes, we kind of do bad, but we kind of do good. But when we do more good and someone's like, how are you so nice? Because Jesus Christ died on the cross. And I'm trying to live the life I can, impact the most people I can. At the end of your life, either you have a relationship with God or you don't. This is all my beliefs, and everyone thinks a different way, but I really think it's so, and I'm sure you agree, like, when you see Christians like spewing hatred. Here's like a big example. I don't want to ramble too long, but because I want to hear your part of this, but this made me open my eye, try to go by in life and do every action as if you're doing it for Jesus. If it was Jesus in front of you, your mom or grandma or someone says, can you please like take out the trash? If that was Jesus Christ asking you to take out the trash, as Christians, we do it, boom, like that. So why don't we do that? Because it's not Jesus. But no, you got to walk the footsteps of Jesus. You just got to put that in your mind. There's a lot of stuff that that I don't want to do. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this. But I got to really try to dial in and think, what would Jesus do?
I like how you mentioned that spiritually it's helped you and it's taken you far, and it's helped you with like not only physical discipline, mental discipline, but also spiritual discipline. And seeing things online, it's helped you grow spiritually overall. For me, it has helped me spiritually, and spiritually has helped me with the body dysmorphia as well. Like, you are in God's image and God made you as you, right? And if he sees his child like talking bad about his own body and like saying, oh, I hate this, I'm not this, and comparing to other children that he's made, it's like he personally wouldn't want that. It's helped me spiritually see myself in a whole new light. They say your body is a temple. You have to take care of it, not only just for yourself, not only just for other people, but for yourself and for God as well. And it's extremely, extremely, extremely important. It's helped me spiritually in terms of discipline and seeing myself differently in a whole new light. That leads me to my next question, though. There's going to be a whole new spin. So I know a lot of guys, they always feel like they want to improve, and they always feel like they're never really getting satisfied. So do you ever feel like if you're not improving, you're failing?
It's a bad mindset to be in, but also a good mindset at the same time. I feel like I'm kind of in that stage right now. There's always that comparison to when you take a break and you're no longer at your best physical health, and you know what your best physical health was. There's a lot of, I'm failing. I skipped the gym. I'm never going to be back to where I used to be. I believe this is such a true statement, but the statement goes, God sees you and he yearns for you to become your highest, truest self. God can see that self, that higher self. But at the same time, you're battling with that lower self, those lower thoughts. Stay in bed. Don't go to the gym. Eat junk food. Eat this, eat that, drink this, smoke that. That's your lower self talking to you. But the image that you see in the best person that you can be physically, mentally, that's your higher self. When I let those lower thoughts win, that lower self win, then I'm like, I'm a failure. I'm never going to be my higher self. And it's really bad to think it in that way. But at the same time, I think thinking that way in some instances where it's just like, I can do better, I can do more. And when it actually pushes you to do more, then I think it's great. You know, sometimes you can get in a loop, and I've gotten in this loop where you're in bed, you're pressing snooze every day, you know, you're not eating the right way, you're not working out. That's how I kind of lost my physique. It becomes a cycle of self-hatred. It quickly is, I'm failing and I want to do better, but you don't change. So it's just fail, negative, negative, negative. And at some point you got to realize there's a term called rumination, where you are just stuck in the cycle of negative thoughts. You got to realize, you know, look at the brighter picture. But yeah, I deal with thinking I'm a failure all the time, because as a young man in this world, a lot of men want to be successful. I think all men want to be successful, actually. But when you take steps back, it really has a big impact on you, because you know where you want to be, and you know that taking steps back can be harmful.
Now, that's a really good point to bring up when it comes to, if you're not doing anything, we think nothing is just failing.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever, like just recently, I've been cutting off a lot of friends, and I've just chosen to just lock in and focus on whatever I want to focus on, physicality and just everything else. You disappoint a lot of people when you try to focus on something. And when you're honed in on something, and when you say like tunnel vision, when you mentioned it, someone mentioned this in the life group, where if you even like spirituality tying into this, if you don't go to church, there's no like consequence that we see face to face, right? No one's gonna be like, oh, why didn't you go to church? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? But if you don't go to an event with friends, you're just going to hear backlash. Like, why weren't you here? Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like a bigger consequence, even though like it's really not like that.
I love that.
And it ties with always feeling like you're failing. Because when you're focusing on like your physicality and your goals and your dreams, sometimes if you're not doing anything, or if you're just like not talking to friends, feels like you're failing in that aspect,
Mm-hmm.
but in the long run, you're winning as a person.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it really is you versus you. And I think you have dealt a lot with that, especially turning the subject to being on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is you versus you, because you're going to hear a lot of noise from, even me, I hear a lot of noise from the outside world, and
Mm-hmm.
people saying things, and they're just speaking, and they're not really caring about what they're saying.
Yeah.
And how do you, as a fitness influencer, how do you keep your mind in check when you're showing your, I guess, body to the world, or when you're putting photos of yourself out there? Like, how do you keep yourself grounded when you do stuff like that?
I think even right now, I'm still having a hard time dealing with it. You know, I film videos of myself lifting. I take pictures, but I haven't posted in a while because I overthink it. I'm like, this doesn't look good. I'm not big enough in this picture. My face doesn't look good when I'm trying to hold a pose. But I've started to come to realize that, and probably like you, the outside noise doesn't matter. And most of the time, people don't really care, you know, unless you're doing something really idiotic, like embarrassing, no one cares. You know, it's all mental. Like we just said, you versus you. I think one thing that will help me in the future that I'm starting to realize is just turning on that camera. Even if I don't post it, do it every time until it becomes normal. Because that camera, you know, staring right at you, or rearranging the camera while you're working out, or that picture that you want to post, it's always just a little uncomfortable. It's always going to be a little uncomfortable. But you got to start getting comfortable being uncomfortable, making the uncomfortable a habit. As I'm lifting again, having to take out that camera, having to set it up properly, and then thinking, I don't like this. It's all in my head. You know, I just got to pump out as much videos as I can of myself that it won't even matter at the end of the day. I'm currently even battling with that. And there's many variables that get in the way, but, you know, just got to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I can understand that as well. And yeah, it is a deep thing when it comes to like being on social media and making sure that you try to ground yourself when it comes to photos you put photos you put on there, whether it's just like not even fitness photos, just any photo.
Yeah.
Like what angle do I look right in this? How does this come off as? And I remember I would have like one Instagram post where there was like a body picture of me. And I was thinking about it for like 3 weeks before I posted it. I would ask all my friends, I'm like, does this make me look like less of a Christian? Does this make me look less cocky? Does this make, you know, just how it would look for everyone else? And at the end of the day, like if your social media is just not even just an outlet, but just a portrayal of who you are as a person and what you stand for, it doesn't matter what people think, because no, you're not really going to think about it. If I say you're an elephant, you know you're not an elephant. You know you're Jadon and you're a human being. You're not gonna get offended.
And I think that like almost makes people, when you do that, you're almost trying to portray what isn't you. You know, all this stuff that you're cutting out and you're overanalyzing, that's who you are. So why cut it out? Why are you trying to put out the fake you, the you that everyone wants to see? It's very common to be just like, do I look weird in this photo? Like thinking it for 3 weeks, but it's like, that is who you are. And as long as you're happy with it, who cares what others think? Because if you care what others think, then you're just doing it for other people's,
you're living
gratification.
Like other people's like opinions and everything. And that does remind me of the next point of like, it's even harder when social media has different norms for everything. Like weird noise. Even like a long time ago, like the dream physique is different 10 years ago than it is now.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna show a picture up here, but like even Ciroc, have you seen like Twilight? Like the Edward, the vampire guy. Yeah. People think that physique was the best physique in the world, but now it's like Chris Bumstead, who is just like 280 pounds, but it's big.
I see that, and I see it a lot more common in how much you lift. The new, this is such a good weight. It used to be 315. Oh my gosh, bro, you're benching 315 is crazy. Now with all these steroids and induced people who aren't doing this naturally, steroids definitely enhances strength for sure. They're benching 405. Now that new limit, even though it's steroids, they're like 405's the weight you got to be putting up if you're like a real gym goer. As a natural gym goer, like 315, like percentage wise, how many people that can bench even 225 is about, I think 10%, maybe even less than 10% of people can bench 225. I think it's just such a shame to see people compare on the internet some steroid head bodybuilder, gym goer throwing up 500 pounds on bench. It makes you seem weaker than you actually are, because how many people like him are doing it, and how much training has he gone through to do that? You're just seeing it on your screen. You don't know what's all behind it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of relating that with the physique wise. And that's
inflation.
Yeah,
That's literally it. Yeah.
It's crazy because I used to think it's so funny getting into lifting. You see these Snapchat stories, and as I started getting into lifting, I'm like working out, doing core. See this guy, and it's like title is like somewhere along the lines of Hawaiian roll abs. It's this black dude, abs like a fist size each ab, like each like muscle is just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do core until I get abs like that. Not realizing that guy is on enhanced drug like enhancers, muscle enhancers. And, it can just easily corrupt your mind looking at someone being like, ooh, his physique looks good. I want to get that. But you actually can't get there naturally, and genetically, everyone's going to be better genetically in one way or the other. It just really, I think, corrupts the mind and leads to body dysmorphia.
See, someone sees someone doing roids online, they think that's natural and they think that they can achieve that, only to never be satisfied with who they are because they think that that's the natural and that's how they should be. But yeah, you're just going deeper on that.
And even more so on that with body dysmorphia, the fact that it's becoming a norm, and now even 16-year-olds are taking steroids. It's just horrible because people don't say it. People are always like, steroids, it's fine for you. And there's no medical, there's no people dying from steroids. And it's because people don't die from steroids. They die from heart palpitations, their heart stopping, heart attacks, seizures. And where does that come from? The increased use of steroids. All these really high body enhancers lead to early deaths. This one guy, I think his name was Joe something. He was that blonde kind of, I think, German guy.
I think I know what you're talking
and
about.
He could ripple his pecs.
Yeah.
He passed away at like early 30s, I think.
It wasn't long ago, right?
Yeah, it was like a couple years back, and he had like a seizure, I think. And his girlfriend found him dead. That's what body dysmorphia and looking up to these people who do steroids can lead to. And some of them time people even claim natural or just don't say anything at all. And people just assume like, oh, I can probably get this physique. Like I've got caught up a couple times even now, even though I can kind of see it. Sometimes like, it's like, ooh, that kind of looks attainable. Are they natural or are they not? And it kind of messes with your head because if you think it's attainable, then you're going to try to attain that physique that you want. Really tough thing to go through looking on the internet and seeing that. So
when it comes to working out over time, they not only just use steroids, but people see them differently. Over a long period of time, we have something stained in our heads that like this person should be a certain way because like it's just part of their personality, I guess. So I guess my question for you was, and this is actually kind of like a funny but deep question as well. Like, have you ever felt like your physique became a trap? Like once people expect you to look a certain way, you can't ever let that go. Like if you saw Dwayne Johnson skinny, like that's just not, that shouldn't be it. And Batista, that's a Batista. That's how I see him since WWE, but he lost a lot of weight. And people just like, that's just not his personality that people see it as. But
yeah,
have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, I've even seen it like Ronnie Coleman.
Oh yeah,
lost his ability to walk, still tries to keep his physique up. As I said, like school, work, and life just gotten away from working out when I had so much free time to work out over the summer in high school. And I was at my peak physique of what I thought was my peak physique and slowly trickling off of working out. I noticed it first when my physique started to kind of fall off. And obviously, because I look in the mirror, I'm like, dang, I'm getting skinny. But once people actually start noticing it too, that's when it's kind of like a punch to the gut, because that's when you know it's really true. And that is a really tough battle to go through. Working at a gym, I'd work out a bunch and these people would see me almost every day or every single week. And then now it's like sometimes they're like, oh, you got a little skinny. I'm just like,
that gets in my head.
yeah, I'm like, it's like, I know. And it's just, you just don't know what to say. You're just like, yeah, you feel ashamed that you let it get that far, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you fell off or trickled off that much where other people can notice. I don't really know a solution to that other than, you know, working out again, but you're gonna have to go through that, you know, if your physique changes and that's who you used to be, you know. But you gotta realize that you can always work to get it back. And when you build that muscle up initially and then lose muscle, it's easier to gain that muscle back than just to start from when you started, you know, because you have that muscle memory. And so working out, you can quickly get your gains back.
Knowing that it's possible to go back.
Yeah, and not like, losing hope.
Yeah. It's easy to lose hope.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, if working out is weird, like, if you work out for a week, you feel like the fittest man on earth. And if you stop working out for a week, you feel like the fattest man, the skinniest man on earth.
Yeah.
That's literally how it feels like. And it's definitely like a personality shift. And it affects me personality-wise and emotionally, physically, obviously physically, spiritually and everything. Like, it's an important part of my life, and I didn't realize that until I took a big break from it. If you were to pick between looking strong and being strong, which would you pick and why?
I think I would have to pick being strong in my beliefs. You know, I want to get married, have a family. So from there, being able to protect and help my family from like having a girlfriend to a wife to a home and having kids, you kind of really gotta realize like being strong as a father is what is gonna show your kids what a man is, you know. So I feel like that image of a man, there's always those dad bods, but then there's always that dad strength, you know, where they can just like, I seen a video, I don't know if this guy was a dad, but he was a cop and this woman was like over her flipped car. Cars are like what? A ton or like 2,000 pounds. That cop, with all his strength and adrenaline, lifted up the car enough for her to escape. And I feel like having that strength to protect and serve your family, you know, in my belief, that is, you know, what can make you a man and a father, you know, and that's what I think like truly matters down the line in that question. Kind of went deep on that question, even though it's a simple question. You know?
That's really good. That's really, I feel like simple answers have deep meanings, so that's really good. And you do bring a good point. Like, I think a lot of men deep down, like as bad as they don't want to admit it in public, they want to be fathers and they want to have a wife and kids and they want to be able to serve, protect, and provide. There's always like an innate man feeling to do that. And a lot of people would relate to that as well. And I think a lot of people choose to get stronger. A lot of men choose to get stronger because of that as well. So, yeah, I respect that. And
you agree?
That. I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. Same reason, in fact. I'd rather choose to be strong than look strong. Because if you look strong, people expect a lot from you. Yeah. But if you're not strong, then like you're not gonna get, how do I say this? Let's say there's like criminals coming at you. This is like so Batman. I can't even criminals coming at you and like they're just like, oh, he's the weak one. Don't put many guys on him. But like now you got less people to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that was a cartoon way of thinking. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, it's like
if you're strong, that's just more important.
Yeah, like in this situation, like obviously we pray this situation never happens in America, but if things turn south government wise, it's up to ourselves to protect our family. Or even nowadays in America, you're in a bad neighborhood, you're in Detroit, you're in Chicago. Obviously, physical strength isn't going to be the only thing that can help because so many guns, like registered or unregistered, people having them on them, people committing crimes with them, that won't help. But in the situation of like a knife or like a physical assault, like a random person on the street or like a crazy man on the street attacks your family, attacks your wife or your girlfriend, snatches her bag, you know, you're going to be able to probably pick that man up if you're strong enough. But if you got the physique, maybe someone won't like mess with your family because you look big, But at the same time, there's always that one crazy person that wants to try it, that wants to instigate. You know, I've just seen it like so many times in gym clips where it's like that one big dude in the gym pressing some person that kind of looks scrawny, you know. And what happens to the big dude? He gets his, you know, he gets beat up. He gets folded.
If you had to pick one exercise to do for the rest of your life, what exercise would it be?
So in my personal fitness class in high school, I had this kind of group of people who we all lifted kind of the most in our class, and our teacher recognized that on bench, squat, deadlift. I mean, me mainly was bench, but the other two, they could squat a bunch. And one of them, he squat about 500 or 505 on squat, back squat. Jeez. And he hit 300 on bench press and beat my record. And from then on, our teacher called me number 2. Said, how's it going, number 2? For week on week on week. And from then I was just like, oh, I can't be number 2. I can't be number 2. And even though it's horrible for your body and no one should do this, I would PR probably almost every week just to try to hit 300. And one day I put all those plates on the rack, 300 on the rack. I'm 165 going against my friend who hit 300. He was probably close to 200 pounds. That one day I got it up, just every vessel in my body was just tense, pulled it up, whole class watching, everyone was cheering, no longer was called number 2. Then later on I hit 305, but you know, I was already not called number 2 anymore. So I was like, you know, it was good, but yeah, that 300 PR, I'll have to show you the video later. Man, I got up, the blood rushing to my head, like smacking people. I even smacked one of my friends so hard, my handprint was on his forearm, and I was just so hyped, so happy. But that overall is why bench press is, you know, would be my only lift, because 1, I'm good at it, and 2, it's just been my lift, my favorite lift throughout my whole fitness journey. So
yeah. That's good. That's a good story too.
Thank you. What about you? What is that one lift or one exercise?
Okay. I'm sure when people see me, I just want to get this out the way. When people see me, like, straight up, I don't look like I'm strong or I'm built or I'm big.
Well, you look toned.
I think I got like a sleeper or like a tone or something.
Yeah, you have a look at compare yourself to an average American, man. When this is off topic, but when obesity rates are climbing and, you know, physical health and fitness is down in America, think about yourself right now. You have a above average physique. Yeah, you know, out of statistics and out of all of America, you're above average to, you know, intermediate lifter, I'm sure. Sorry for interrupting you, but
no, you're good. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, if I compare it to how America is right now, and I'm shredded, I'm fit, I'm amazing. But no, yeah. I think like I'm definitely not unfit. Like, I think I'm a fit person. Am I where I want to be? No. Do I got a lot of work? Yes. But my gym experience, what was it? Oh, my friends and I had a bet. If it was like by the end of the year, the school year, whoever of all of us does not get a muscle up gets an ice bucket.
Oh, nah.
And I said I wasn't in the... I'm the kind of guy that's like, I'm not in until I win, you know? Like, I'll disassociate, and then once I make it, then like, okay, I was in the challenge all along.
So like, oh, you tagged me, but I wasn't actually playing.
Yeah, I'm that guy. No one likes that guy. I'm that guy. So I would always try and muscle up. And one time I even like went up, hit my chin. Maybe I could put the video up here. Hit my chin, like I was bleeding, so I failed. But like, it was time for me to do a muscle up after like months of practicing. And the whole gym, I felt like the whole gym was looking at me, like the spotlight effect, you know. I did a muscle up. and I pushed my way up. And it was really just the momentum that got me up.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when I got up, I looked to my right and left. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys. And I felt like I saw the whole gym, people behind me, people like my friends like all the way back and like where the bench is. And they're just like, no way, dang, now we got to do it. And then once I got down, like I think that was like the best experience because there's a pull up and then the muscle up. Like that's two different, like you feel like, speak English, Philly. People think that if you can do a pull up, then you can do a muscle up. But I feel like there's a big distance between the two.
I'm going to be honest. I can't even do a muscle up.
Okay.
You know, I think it's just because when you train for strength, you're not really training for calisthenics. You know what calisthenics is?
Yeah.
Body weight exercises. I hate pull-ups. Least favorite exercise. Best for me, but least favorite. It hurts doing pull-ups like that.
Yeah.
That's, and then muscle up. Very low percentage of people can do that, you know. And in some aspect, it can be about weight. If you're lighter, you can easily do it, but you seem about like a tall height, so you're not lightweight. So that's definitely pure strength and technique. That's amazing. I can't even do that. No lie. I can't.
My birthday today, bro's hyping me up today. Dang.
Yeah. So is it your birthday?
No, I'm saying making me feel like it's my birthday today.
I was like, oh shit, it was my birthday yesterday, man.
Your birthday was yesterday?
Yeah, I just turned 20.
Yeah, I didn't tell you.
What? Happy birthday. What
appreciate it, bro. I got a whole deal on, well, my girl bought it for me, but America's Best Wings. Buy one, get one free. $20 for 10 wings. So I got 20 wings for $20 because it was buy one, get one free. Grubbed all those wings. Can't lie. I watched a show with my girl, Love Island. I watched that while eating those wings. I was eating the wings and eating up the drama, bro. It was amazing. It was a great night. But yeah. Dang. I feel like I'm 20, man.
You feel like you're 20?
My back's hurting.
No.
People they're gonna start calling me Unk.
I'm the Unk in my group. If I show them this clip, I'm not gonna show them this clip. What is the most out of pocket gym experience you've ever had?
So I've worked at a gym for maybe almost 2 years now out of high school, and I've seen some crazy stuff and heard some crazy things. I'd say there's a common people walking around without a towel in the locker room and just staring dead in your eye. And so, or secondly, like, I think I've heard stories of, you know, people doing indecent things in the steam room. Never witnessed it myself, but I'm also glad I never witnessed it myself.
Yeah.
Those got to be the top out of pocket things I've seen so far. So
yeah, dang, that's insane. I don't think mine is going to sound that bad, but I remember I was at the gym. It was like 6:30 in the morning, and then I was ready to do bench, and I needed someone to spot me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking around the gym, and when you look for someone to spot you, you look for a specific person, like someone who has a good mindset, someone who cares about you as a person, right?
Yeah.
And I chose the wrong guy. This guy was walking. He looked like he was like 6'3", 6'4". Middle Eastern dude, big beard. He looked like he was 220, 230, big and buff. He had a tank top on and everything. And like, I said, "Hey, sir, can you spot me real quick?" He said, "Of course, I got you." Drops his bag, runs straight to me, and he doesn't even like say how much you want to do. He just like puts his hands there. He said, "Let's get started."
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I've never done this weight before in my life. I've never done this. So I lift it up, and it's about to go down, and like I can't pick it up. And obviously, I thought he's just gonna like put it back up, and they'd be like, "Okay, good job, kid. Like next time, just like go lighter." It drops on my chest. He picks it up himself, drops it on my chest, and then he literally, the only thing I'm doing is just holding the bar, and it's just bouncing it on my chest for like 10, 11, 12 times. And then like he just throws it back on the rack, and he's like, "Next time you just gotta lock in, and he just walks away. I'm just like, bro, I almost died, bro. Like, and then that for me, that's the only out of pocket experience I've had in the gym. I don't think I'll ever forget. So choose your spotters wisely, guys. That's my advice to everyone here.
That is crazy. Yeah. Definitely. I think Yeah, you judge the book by its cover with seeing the biggest guy, but yeah, even the scrawnier people can pick up weight for you. You know,
Yeah.
um, that's scary.
I
Now you're
almost died.
making me think twice about who I should have spot me now.
So my question for you is, what's the biggest mistake guys make when trying to gain muscle?
I think the biggest mistake that guys make trying to gain muscle has to be dirty bulk. Because in reality, you gain less muscle doing a dirty bulk than a lean bulk, but you gain more fat. You'll gain the muscle quicker, but you'll gain a lot more fat. I've seen that recently in like a Jeff Nippard video. I watch a lot of his videos. And yeah, people just try to eat as much as they can because that's what these bodybuilders are doing. But they gotta realize these bodybuilders are on steroids. You're not on steroids. You're a high school or a college student. You can bounce back from that by eating whatever you want. I even did it. I ate whatever I wanted, and my physique was still great. That was my top physique. I was eating whatever I wanted as much as I could. But in reality, you got to track those calories, track those fats, and track the protein that you're intaking. Dirty bulk isn't a great, option. I think lean bulk is where people should try to tend to go to.
Okay. That's good advice because I made that mistake 2 months ago. Just doing dirty bulk. And yeah, even cameraman completely agrees. And honestly, after I tried bulking like December and January, even just by a little bit, like 10 pounds in, I already feel like this wasn't a good idea. Like, I wish I feel disgusting, slow.
Speaking of feeling like that, I don't know if it was C-Bum or some other pro bodybuilder said that is not maintainable. He did that for 2 weeks and he just felt horrible and he had to stop. It's not a long-term thing. You can't be doing a dirty bulk for months and months in. They do it short periods of time. And I'm sure like you probably didn't even like gain as much muscle as you wanted.
I lost a lot of muscle.
Yeah. And it's because like you're gonna have to, it's all that food is going to the fat in your body. Yeah. And not the muscle. It can build it. You can seem like you're building the muscle quicker. I think it is scientifically, but it's like not as much compared to eating less processed foods, less saturated fats, and high protein. And then it's also really quickly, I don't want to go too long into this question, but there's a main maintenance calories that you eat, and that's maintaining the same weight. And I heard from a Jeff Nippard video that eating a certain amount over those maintenance calories determines your bulk. Eating 5 to 10%, I think, don't quote me on this, leads to a leaner bulk, and then eating 10 to 20% leads to less leaner bulk. And then obviously going over and over more is going to lead to dirtier bulk, leading to less muscle growth and more fat growth, like fat growth or fat weight gain and fat gain. Yeah. So, yeah.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. I just feel chunky, disgusting, and like it's not worth it at the end of the day. And for you, my next question actually is what's one myth about muscle growth that people still believe?
A really big one is you really don't have to be in the gym for 2-3 hours. I know it sounds crazy, but some people actually do that. In reality, like I've heard people, pro lifters, whether hypertrophy, like bodybuilders or strength training wise, it's going to be longer because you need longer rests because you're trying to optimize the amount of weight you're putting up and you need to rest more. But for hypertrophy and bodybuilding, you don't need to rest that long. You dilly-dally in the gym and you do all these sorts of exercises. In reality, I heard you only need to really be in the gym, maybe some people 30, 45 minutes to an hour in the gym. and that's enough. And relating to that, the amount of time you're at the gym throughout the week, yes, it's good to try to be in the gym more often than not, but every day and working out every day or is actually bad for you. You know, I'm sure a good amount of people should know this is like, you work out too much, you're not going to recover and you're not going to gain that muscle because the muscle needs to, you know, take a break, you know, in that type of way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I can think off the top of my head.
So like just because you work out so much for so long doesn't mean like that's how gains work. Like, it could also
it leads to form and exercises that are actually meaningful.
Yeah.
If you're just doing everything, you're trying to hit every machine or all these sorts of machines, 30 different exercises in one day, like you're gonna overwork yourself. Take it one step at a time. I deal with that a lot. I try to, relating to me trying to get back to my old physique, I try to hop in, do the old weight I used to do or try to do something similar, and my body just can't handle it. So I've realized I gotta start taking it lighter weight and slowly progress into doing more and more intensity. You know, you can't jump in like all the way in and expect you to be peak physique in no time, you know?
Yeah, and sometimes
there's no rush.
Days where like you're weak for some weird random reason, and then there's days where like you're stronger too. This next question, I'm actually really curious to hear your answer on because I've dealt with this for a while. It's like, what's the most underrated tip for breaking through a plateau? Someone is at the same weight for a long time. Someone is at the same size for a long time. They either want to go up or go down. And it's just they're working really, really hard and there's no results.
There's so many things that you can do, and there's not one cure-all thing that you can really do to break through that plateau. A good note is to take rests. You aren't hitting the same weights that you normally are. You're kind of feeling weak in one for a little bit of time. Taking a week-long break and just doing light exercise and then going back the next week to the weight you typically do. I'm not sure the name of it, and I'm still like learning about breaking through plateaus and all the sorts of names for different things that you can do exercise wise. But yeah, taking that break, doing lightweight for a week or so, and then going back to the regular weight. I've done it before just because I've gone on a break and I wasn't able to lift. Like, you ever go on a beach trip and you're lifting consistently, and then you come back from the beach trip and you low-key kind of feel a little stronger. Yeah, letting those muscles recover by doing lighter weight or like minimum exercise for about a week. There's something scientifically about that helps you, you know, feel stronger the next week and get back to, you know, trying to break through other goals. I don't want to go on all the topics, but I want to let you know that there's also about strength training wise, trying to hit that plateau in strength training, static holds on heavier weight that you obviously can't lift. I've done it before when I really wanted to hit 300 or 305, and I wanted to even hit 315. Sadly, never got to do that. But static holding 3 plates because I was close to 300, holding it, maybe like 10, 20 seconds, boom, drop it back on the rack. Same thing with squat too. Really heavy weight. Maybe you can only squat 315. You put 4 plate. I'm not sure how much extra weight you want to do. You have to look in that yourself, but maybe putting 4 plates, going above the bar, like pushing it up and then dropping back down, you know? So sorry to really go on, but with static holds or heavier weight that you're not used to, I've learned recently that there's studies showing that the stretch of your muscle really matters in growing strength, because going down really matters. So doing heavy weight that maybe your triceps and your chest aren't strong enough to push it up, but you're able to slowly lower it down to your chest as slow as possible, and then someone lifts it up for you. Yeah. I know that also can help you break through plateaus of maxing and maximizing your max strength on core exercises. So
I've seen that. That's helped me personally, and I've seen it help other people close to me. That was really good advice, actually. Dang. Yeah, and I know what you mean where you take a break and you come back.
Feel rejuvenated. You're like, oh, I'm like, it's weird because you're like, you think, oh, just keep going and going and going. I got to keep lifting and lifting. I'll get stronger and stronger. but actually like letting yourself rest, or just not doing really any exercise for a little bit, like a couple days, and you do it again, you're like, ooh, feel great. So yeah.